Buenos dias, everybody. Buenos dias, todos. Hello, hello. Romy Marlowe coming to you live here for Uncommon Woman Ministry Live. It is Friday. It is 9:30-ish, and I am so happy to be here. I missed all of you. I really did. I really missed you. I love doing our calls. It's my way to connect with my community. It is such a great way for me to also, in some weird selfish way, share what's on my heart, the things that I'm going through, the things that I'm being challenged by, right? So I get to share it with you, and possibly if you are experiencing the same things, then we can have a conversation, right? So when you jump on, please say hello in the comments and let me know where you're coming from. I have so many new people in my community. I am so grateful. You guys, good morning, Alita. It was so amazing to meet you last night. That was amazing. So you guys, last night, let me back up. The last Thursday of every month, I'm doing something called Uncommon Woman Ministry, God's Girl Guest Call. And what we're doing on that call is we are connecting as a group of women, but it's open to all women. So women who aren't in any of my coaching spaces, women who aren't in the Uncommon Woman Global Ministry, I'm just opening it up for connection because it is such a great opportunity for us to get in a sacred private space live and have a conversation about important things. And last night, the conversation was, who is Jesus to me? And let me tell you, it was so good. I loved being in that room last night. We opened our hearts, we shared secrets, we were just so open. It's so important to create safe spaces for women to share. I mean, this is what I've been doing. This is what I was called to do by God in 2013. So for those of you who don't know the story, I'm going to tell it one more time. Good morning always leads with love. Wasn't it an amazing conversation last night? It really was. So thank you to everybody who was there. I mean, I never know who's going to show up to these calls because I get lots of people asking for the link. I get lots of women wanting to be on, and then for whatever reason they show up or they don't show up. And so it's just like Christmas. It's like opening a gift and I don't know who's going to be there. And last night we had this powerful conversation about who Jesus used to be for us. So the relationship that we had with Jesus back in the day. And the stories were so different, but there was also a through line for several of them, right? Of course, because if you get, I think there were 6 or 7 of us in the room. When you get enough people in the room sharing stories, then there are going to be parallels. And then we talked about, that was at the beginning of the call. And at the end of the call, we talked about who Jesus is to us today. And let me tell you, it was so beautiful. So I'm going to actually look at my notes. Give me one sec. I'm going to share who Jesus was for all of us today. I'm going to just give you the words, okay? I'm not going to, and I'm going to invite you to think about who Jesus used to be for you, all right? Like maybe he was intimidating. Maybe he was a reflection of shame for you. Maybe he was somebody who you didn't understand. Maybe he was somebody who you felt disconnected from. Maybe he felt like he was this painting on a wall. Somebody used the analogy last night of like, he was like this painting on a wall, like the Last Supper, like an oil painting. So that was Jesus to me. I wasn't connected to him in any way, right? So who was Jesus to you before? And, you can put it in the comments. I would love to hear. And then here are the words. Hi, Helen. Hi, Shar. You guys, I love you. Hi, Ash. Thank you so much for being here. Really. Hi, Joanne. I love all of the women here. I love you. I'm feeling a lot of love today. I'm feeling a lot of gratitude today. I feel like it might be a day where I might shed some tears. Who knows? You just never know. Okay, but here is what the answers were for the question, who is Jesus to you now? Okay, so it was so good. I just wrote them down. Okay, so what you can do if you want is you can share who he is to you now in the comments, or you can wait and I'll read the list, and then if one of them resonates, then you can share that one. Okay, so I said teacher. I said he has been the greatest teacher for me over the last several years. I would say like 3 or 4 years. I think it was like 2022, so it's been 4 years. He has been a teacher. I really am trying to be more like Jesus. I really am. And of course, I'm probably failing miserably. But it's my constant, it's the thing, it's my guidepost right now. It is my GPS because it's easy, right? I joined Uncommon Woman after the call. Oh, you did? See, I didn't even see that. Oh my gosh. That is so exciting. I love that. Okay. See, this is what happens when we get together on these calls. We go, oh, wait a minute. I need to be in this space. Like, these conversations are important to me. Okay. So I said Jesus has been a teacher. Here are some of the other words. And if one of them resonates, just put it in the comments. Let's play a fun game. Okay. Truth. Best friend 24/7, 365. Peaceful guiding light. Love. My everything. My closest friend. Aren't those just so beautiful? Teacher, truth, best friend 24/7, 365, peaceful guiding light, love, everything, and my closest friend. Now, does that not sound like somebody that you want to hang out with? Right? So what's really amazing is that all of the women who were on the call have found so much peace and so much love and liberation and grace and forgiveness and comfort through their relationship with Jesus. Now, I'm sorry, but if that's not somebody that you want to hang out with a little bit more, then I don't know who is. Because let me tell you, friendships and relationships can be challenging, but they're not challenging with Jesus. They're just not. He's very clear about his boundaries. He's very clear about what he wants from us. He's very, very clear about what we need to do in order to have an eternal life with him. And also, he's constantly forgiving, constantly loving, constantly merciful, constantly soft, constantly graceful. I mean, the thing that I love most about Jesus, and I'm really learning this from him, is that the past doesn't matter. I brought this up last night on the call. I don't know why I wanted that light on, but I did. And I also want to light my candle. You guys know how I love a lit candle. I can't find my lighter. But, okay, so here's what's really important. And please tag people in the comments and share this out. This is I'm going to talk about relationships today because this is really on my heart, okay? And I know that relationships are like one of the primary things that women struggle with, right? Relationships with partners, relationships with family, relationships with children, relationships with friends, all of it. So I thought this would be a really great way to end the week and get everybody reset. If you're having any relationship pain, maybe you just put a heart in the comments. If you're having any relationship pain, put a heart in the comments. And the reason I'm having you put a heart in the comments is because 2 things. Number 1, I want you to interact with me. And also, we can't heal it if we can't reveal it, right? So just put a heart in the comments. You don't have to say who. You don't have to say how long. Just put a heart in the comments. I would put a heart in the comments right now. I'm having a little bit of that, okay? And it's okay. We're all in this together. I'm trying to find my lighter. I need to spend some time cleaning my desk this morning. I got back from my trip and I'm all like, okay, fresh start, time to new levels, new devils. I got to get my desk cleaned up again. I clean my desk all the time. And then how does my desk get so messy? So it's like somebody comes in here and does that overnight. Like, you know what I mean? Seriously. Anyway, okay, so look at all the hearts. Okay, see, this is why we're having this conversation this morning. Okay, because I know my ladies. Right? So one of the things that I brought up last night on our call, and it's the God Girls guest call. It's a connection call where all we do is just have a conversation. Everybody's invited to open up their mics. Everybody had lots of opportunity to share. It was really great. And we still got done in like an hour and 15 minutes. Okay. But this is one of the things that I brought up about Jesus. And I'm really, really trying to be more like him in this way. When he was with the woman at the well, it's a really good example. Okay. When he was with the woman at the well and he said to her, I know that you've been married 5 times. He didn't go back and dig up the past. He didn't say, why? Let's rip it apart and go through every reason why you betrayed me. Because then she was living with her boyfriend. And, who knows what kind of a person that she was. We don't know. And there's nothing wrong with being married multiple times. I think it was PK, and I loved this. She said, God doesn't love divorce. He loves the divorcee, right? And I mean, I've never been married, and I don't even know. Anyway, all of that aside, here's what I'm saying. He didn't say to her, explain your past. Just like he didn't, just like he doesn't say to me, never mind her. How about I talk about me for a minute? I'm just going to talk about me. You guys, I have a colorful past. I've had lots of relationships. I've been with lots of men, right? Like, I made choices. Like I've been with men that were the wrong men, right? Like I've made choices that weren't healthy for me. And yet he doesn't ask me to explain all of that before he grants me forgiveness and gives me grace. He doesn't. Right? And I love this, the way that the woman at the well, he doesn't make her explain her past. He just says, go and sin no more, which means in his eyes, she was sinful at some level, right? But instead of him saying, I want you to explain every detail, and we're going to go over it over and over again, and you're going to apologize, and you're going to try to justify it, and I'm going to tell you that you're wrong, and then you're going to disagree, and then I'm going to get into your past, and he just said, just go and sin no more. So when we're looking at the relationships that we're in, the ones that may be hurting our hearts, or the ones that are challenging for us, is there any place in this relationship where we can say, I'm just going to not dig up the past? Because don't we love to get out the freaking shovel and just be like, okay, here we go. I want to know all of the things. I'm going to dig it up. I'm going to find it. Where all that stuff that happened in the past, I'm going to get out my big old shovel. I'm going to put on my gloves. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to dig up all the past. And I'm going to show it to you. And I'm going to say, explain. I want to know right now. Tell me why you did that. What happened? What justifies it? Here's what you did and didn't do. You haven't apologized enough times. You haven't said, you guys, Jesus didn't do that. So why do we think, and excuse me, but he actually gave his life, like physically was put up on a cross because of those things. Yet never once, not once, in all my conversations with God, has he said, yes, but first I need to know why. Why are you down on your knees in drunk as a skunk, asking for help when I've told you 1,001 times that this behavior is not aligned with who I am. Right? He's never once said that to me. And let me tell you, I have messed up more times than I can count. Like, honestly. He's not asking me because there's not enough time in the day. There's not enough minutes in the day to hear all of my coulda, woulda, shoulda, and why I did this and all the things that. So why do we do it to other people? Why do we hold other people accountable and ice them out and punish them and elevate ourselves above them and try to show them through passive aggressive behavior that they are not in our good books right now? Instead of just saying, you know, I know your heart. I know your heart. And whatever it was that you did, whether it was right or wrong, whether it was really sinful or not sinful, or whether you meant it or not, I can let it go. Right? And the thing is about relationships, you guys, there are different, like everybody sees things through different lenses, and we do not know what's going on in other people's lives. We assume that we know. While I was away in Guatemala, all kinds of stuff was going down here in Thunder Bay with one of my businesses. And I didn't know. And I was trying to figure out why certain people were behaving a certain way. And it's because they were trying to protect me from knowing what was going on. But you know what? I thought they were angry at me. So see how it can be misinterpreted? I thought they were angry at me, and I didn't understand why. And they were trying to protect me because I was leading a retreat. So all this time, I'm like a little bit like, and I had to keep resetting myself. Just let it go, let it go. And then sure enough, there was some protection because they didn't want my energy to be leaked while I was away. And I thought that they were angry at me. So here's the thing. And then they had their own thing going on. Like 100% had their own thing going on that really didn't allow them the time to even tell me what I needed to know. Okay, it's a long story. But my point is this. There's this perspective and there's this perspective, but there's so much life going on behind each of them. And we think we know. We think we know why people are doing things. We think it's because they have a bad intention or they're just selfish or whatever. But we don't actually know what's being carried behind the scenes so often. And we assume that we're right because our gut tells us something is off. Now, here's the thing. There was something off. So my intuition was right. Okay? My intuition was right. There was something off. I could feel it. But what it was, I was wrong about. How often does our intuition say that something's off, but we assume that we know what it is? And we know the story behind it. Those are two different things. One of them is a story. One of them is intuition. If we can separate the two, if we can separate your intuition from your assumptions and story, imagine, instead of us assuming, we could just say, okay, so something is off. So what I need to do is just contact somebody and say, something is off. Am I right? I don't know what it is, and I don't know the story behind it. I just feel it. And then allow them to fill in the blanks. And if they choose not to share, then that's on them. But your intuition is probably right if you feel something is off, right? But we can't carry the story if we don't know what the story is. But that's what we do. We carry a story, right? So we feel something is off and we assume it's us, or we assume that somebody's angry, or we assume that they're right, or and all of these things. And there's two sides to it too. There's the side which is something is off, but what we need is a conversation to clarify some things. And sometimes there's no resolution, meaning that nobody's going to say, I agree. Like, you have two different perspectives because you have two different lived experiences through which you see the world. But what you can do is choose peace together and just say, let's just not dig up the past. Let's heal what's here and move forward. Right? That's what Jesus does. That's what Jesus does. Now, sometimes we move forward and we're like, I just don't like this person's heart. And sometimes we just need to give people we need to give people a break. We know somebody's heart. Here's the thing, even if we know somebody's heart is good, that doesn't mean that they're not going to mess up. We have a high expectation for people with good hearts. You know? Bye, Helen. People with good hearts mess up too. And also, sometimes it's not that they messed up. Sometimes they just didn't do it the way that we wanted them to do it. That's not messing up. Like, we need to remember that everybody's way of doing things and everybody's way of managing things may be different. Even just if it's minute difference. But that minute difference can make such a huge impact if it's not discussed. And what we do, and this is a lot of the work that I do with women, is what we do is often avoid the conversation, because the conversation makes us uncomfortable. But it's the uncomfortable conversation that brings people closer together. One of my very best friends in the whole wide world, we've had several uncomfortable conversations, and we talk about it all the time. We always say our relationship is better than it's ever been because of those conversations. Not because of the trips that we've taken, not because of the days when everything is great. It's when we have the hard conversations. And I'm assuming that when Jesus was with the woman at the well, and he said to her, oh, I know that you're not married and that you're living with the man that you're with right now. I'm sure for her, she was uncomfortable, right? Even though she didn't know at the time who he was, it still would have been uncomfortable for her, because how did he know that without her telling? And maybe there was some shame for her there, because back in those days, it was probably not really culturally accepted. But she'd been married so many times that it could be that back in those days, traditionally, maybe somebody wasn't going to marry her. I don't know what the traditions and the culture were back then. But I'm guessing because she was a woman, that she might have had some level of shame around that, even though she shouldn't, because she's a person just like you and I, trying to do her best. But there might have been some discomfort there for her. But look at what happened. Instead of her running and saying, how dare you say that, she stayed. And that uncomfortable conversation became her transformation. She went and got more people from the little village and said, I've met the Messiah, and she brought them back to him. And she became like a minister. Like, she instantly, that's what building ministry is. It's when you go out and you share the word, and then people are closer to Jesus as a result. So here's this woman who he gave every opportunity to write her life to, and she did. And he didn't expect her to dig up her past and apologize. He wasn't waiting for an apology. He just said, I love you. Go sin no more. That's all. It's kind of like, I love you, just try not to hurt me again. But if you do, I know your heart. You know, we're so hard on each other, man. And I just, you know, like here, I'm just going to pull up my notes, because how do you guys feel about all this? You're like, what if we just went through life a little bit more grace, a little bit warmer, a little less in our masculine energy, a little bit more in our feminine, nurturing, loving energy, loving the people, giving grace to the people that have loved and supported us and been there for us. And if they mess up, you know what? Can we give them a break? Right? Like, sometimes people do so well for us that when they mess up, we get angry. It's like, I've known this person for so long and I've held them so high, and then I saw them, then they did something that hurt me or said something that hurt me, and now it's over. We put people on a pedestal, or we don't allow them any space and grace to maybe have a moment. You know? Like, it's so important, especially as women who are change makers, that we give people a chance and really look at somebody's heart. Like, is that person really out to harm me? Are they really selfish? Or did they just, maybe they didn't understand my expectations, or maybe they just had a bad day. I think about, you know, last week when I was like, oh, I think somebody's angry at me. And meanwhile, they were trying to protect me. We assume so many things. And sometimes also, the truth hurts us. And so we blame it on them. Like Jesus said to the woman at the well, I know that you've been married 5 times and now you're living with a partner who's not even your husband. Go and sin no more. Like, he was telling the truth to her. He was saying, listen, I know this, and also, like, here's the truth. And sometimes when people tell us the truth, we get angry at them. Right? So, every once in a while, relationships are a reflection of actually how so much somebody loves us, and they can see where our pattern or our repeated, maybe we have a pattern, or there's some kind of repetition that we're telling ourselves that's actually not benefiting us. So every once in a while, they'll swoop in and say, because I love you and because we have this relationship, I'm just going to say this thing. And then we get angry at them and we freeze them out. When meanwhile, maybe, just maybe, is there any truth to it? What if we were to just say, wow, interesting. You know, it's hard to swallow, but it's an opportunity for growth and for a closer relationship, right? 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7. Love is patient, right? I'm going to read it. 1 Corinthians 4, we all know it, but I want to say it properly. 1 Corinthians 13. Here it is. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wronged. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. This live today is about love, about being more loving in relationship, being more forgiving and graceful. Maybe asking somebody instead of making assumption, is everything okay with you? Because how you manage that is different than how you normally manage that. What's going on behind closed doors? Is there something there? Right? Is there something that I can help you with? Or, you know what? When you said that thing, it hurt, but I'm actually going to go think about it. Because I know that you only say things to me in the hopes that I'll grow from it. But the reality is that, like Jesus, we don't have to have these big, long conversations with people and dig it out. You know what I mean? Sometimes we just got to be like, I've been forgiven so many times, and this person really just needs to be forgiven. Right? I just need to not dig up the past. I need to not get out the shovel and bring it up again. If I'm trying to heal my marriage, if I'm trying to heal a friendship, if I'm trying to heal some kind of a relationship with parents, I just need to not keep digging up the past. It doesn't mean it's not there, but also, how often are we going to go back to the same thing? It's exhausting for everybody. And sometimes we go back there because we want an excuse to be angry. But it's like, give yourself an excuse to be peaceful. And sometimes, then there's this truth, which is sometimes people don't come with you for the whole journey. And it can be hard, and it can be painful for your heart. It might feel funky. But you can't make them do what they don't want to do. And sometimes they shouldn't, because it's not healthy. I mean, it can go both ways, right? But for me, to be more like Jesus and to look at him and say, who is Jesus now in my life? Is he's my teacher. And what I want to do is check my heart and continue to ask myself, who is Jesus to me? And am I being more like him? If he's my teacher, then I want to be more like him. And Jesus was not a pushover. He had strong boundaries. He had strong beliefs. He was a truth teller. And he moved forward, and all kinds of people betrayed him. And all kinds of people didn't walk with him. But he was quick to love, and he was quick to forgive. And he was a gentle, gentle soul. And there's something about that I really love. And sometimes I can be a little ratchet. Sometimes I can be a little hood. And I come back to myself and I think, I just need to soften a bit sometimes. Because my default used to be to react. And now my default is to, but it takes more effort for me because that's not who I used to be. I was the door slammer and the stomper and the spin out of the driveway and sharp tongue and all of that. I was all of that. And I'm really trying in this time in my life to be softer and more forgiving and graceful and gentle, a soft landing place. But I'm also truthful, and I also have strong boundaries, and I'm also bold, and I'm not going to take crap. You know? If I feel like I'm being dishonored in a huge way, I don't have to stay in that person's energy. I can love them, but I can also move them to the back of the bus. Because it's easy for us as women to go into the tailspin of, what did I do wrong? Trying to make everybody else, right. Allowing ourselves to be trodden over. apologizing for things that we shouldn't really be apologizing for. Sometimes we just apologize for being who we are. It's like, oh, I'm sorry for saying that. Well, maybe you said it because you meant it. Maybe you said it because it's what you believe. And we don't have to carry everybody else's emotions about things. Sometimes we're going to say things that hurt people, and we're just going to have to be okay with that. You know, as long as it's not mean-hearted. Sometimes we say things and people don't appreciate it, and we can do one of two things. We can say, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you, or we can say, I'm sorry you feel that way. But don't apologize if you're not sorry for it. We don't want people that we love, or we don't want anybody to be hurting. But we shouldn't also be running around trying to put out everybody else's fires so that we've got no water left. We've got no nourishment left for our own, for our own lives, for our own garden. So who is Jesus to you? Is he a teacher? Is he your guiding light? Is he your best friend 24/7, 365? Is he grace? Is he love? Is he your everything? Is he all of that? I find it really helpful right now for me to consider him my greatest teacher. Because in the middle of everything, I can be like, what would Jesus do? Jesus didn't grovel for people's acceptance. He didn't apologize for his strong boundaries. He didn't play in the gray area. He was very clear about who he was. But also he didn't have ego. I mean, he had ego in that he could say, I am the Messiah, but he didn't even say it with ego. He just said, this is the way it is. Right? Hi, Melanie. Hi, Trini. Yeah, my hair's getting so long, you guys? The goal is to have you guys seen Pamela Anderson's hair recently? That's kind of where I'm going. It's like here-ish, yeah, shaggy. I love her hair right now. I'm all about her new vibe. I love it. Jesus is my peace. I love that. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to share with you today. Love each other as I have loved you. John 15, verse 12. Love each other as I have loved you. That's a tough one. Love each other as I have loved you. What does that mean? That means that we have to love the people who have hurt us. We have to love the people that we don't understand. We have to love the people. We have to love people, everybody. We just have to love everybody as he loves us. That does not mean that we put ourselves in danger. It does not mean that we betray our values. It does not mean that we stay in places that don't honor who we are. But we can still love people as much as he loves us. And every once in a while, we need to give other people a break. And this is for me as well. I need to give people a break. I need to, understand that behind that person is somebody that Jesus loves just as much as he loves me. That's big. If I was able to look at somebody who I was super angry at or frustrated by and just think to myself, he loves this person as much as he loves me. This person is of equal value in his kingdom as I am. Before I open my mouth, what would I say? So in other words, let's picture him standing there beside this person. He is standing beside this person and we're in conversation with them because he's there. He's with both of us. What would we say? I mean, these are the things that we have to think about, you guys. It seems crazy and it seems kind of, a little bit out of this world, but it's not. If you believe what the Bible says, then it says, love each other as I have loved you. Those are his words. Are we going to say, yeah, but, yeah, no, oh, Jesus, no, no. Or are we going to say, oh man, that's a tough one. Okay, this is what I'm working on this week. I think it's more like that, right? So that's what I wanted to share with you guys this morning. I've got my Uncommon Woman jean jacket on. When I was in Guatemala, I brought jean jackets for all the ladies. And I made them jean jackets that had like Uncommon Woman on them. It was so fun. And then it says Crushed Coffee on mine. Says Crushed Coffee on the back. See that? But I made them fun jean jackets. It's great. Okay. Anyway, so here are the things that are going on in Uncommon Woman in my world. So April 6th, I start the Legacy Business Masterclass. It is for women and men, but mostly women. I think it's going to be mostly women, but there might be a few men jumping in. It is for people who want to build a legacy business. What is a legacy business? A legacy business is a business that continues after you're gone. In other words, the impact continues. So when you go, there's a ripple effect. Now, that might seem like a really big thing, like, whoa, I never thought of that. But imagine, because see, Jesus left a legacy. 2,000 plus years later, here we are still talking about him, right? When we build legacy businesses, legacy ministries, what we're doing is we're starting something that will continue through the generations in our family, outside of our family, with the people that we touch. So to build a legacy business is to build a business that will leave a legacy. It will leave a legacy in several ways, financially, right? The impact of the good work that you do will have a ripple effect long after you're gone. So Uncommon Woman is a legacy business. I now have 2 other leaders who have stepped in to carry it in their countries, which means that if something happened to me tomorrow, I know with all my heart that those women would carry it. They would carry it forward, and that's really powerful. So if you want to build a legacy business, if you want to just build something that is from your heart, I'm running my first masterclass in 4 years called Legacy Business Live. And why am I doing it now? Because I'm building 2 legacy businesses, and I know what I've done to get here. And I want to support other women who want to do it. We start April 6th. It's a 6-week masterclass. We're going to meet every Monday night for 6 weeks. And what's incredible about it is that when you walk away, you will have a roadmap. There's homework, there will be a guidebook, all of it. You'll just download it, and we are going to jam out together via Zoom. I always do my classes via Zoom. And we're going to get you to a place where you feel like you have direction. And that's the biggest thing I find people need, is direction in what it is that they're wanting to create. So Legacy Business Life, $49 right now. I have it on an early bird. So if you go to romymarlowe.com, it'll pop up as soon as you go to my website, and you can go and read about it. Get in the room. We need mentorship and support when we're building something like this. I had mentorship and support. I've had it for 10 years. I've always had mentorship around me because I know that there are better ways to do things than the ways that I've tried to do them. And you know what? It took me 10 years. I want you guys to be able to fast forward what you're doing. I don't want it to take 10 years for you, you know? So Legacy Business Masterclass starts April 6th. Go to romymarlowe.com and sign up. Then we have Uncommon Woman Global Ministry, which is my ministry for women. It's a private Facebook group. We do 4 calls a month. 3 of those are the private calls, and then the 4th one is the God's Girl guest call, the Connect call. And I also have some things planned for the Uncommon Woman Global Ministry for the spring. I'm not revealing it yet, but more opportunities to interact, more opportunities for us to do things together as a community. So I'm really excited about that. We do 2 Bible studies and 2 Connect calls each month. And it's such a powerful place to be, because you get to come in and have a conversation with one another about what's going on in your lives. I really love providing a space for women to talk and share and grow. And I'm going to be introducing a free masterclass in there as well in the spring. So that's part of what I'm doing. But I can't say much else yet. Okay? So that, go to RomieMarlowe.com to join Uncommon Woman Global Ministry and get in the room. And yeah, we meet 4 times a month via Zoom. Like, it's great. It's amazing. And then what else? Oh yeah, Lead with Love, November 2026. I'm running another retreat in Guatemala for women leaders. You have to be in a leadership role at some level. Like, it's a place where women leaders come to the table and share and grow together. It's not it's really not a place where you're trying to figure out who you are. It's more for women who have businesses, women who are leading ministry, women who are leading organizations or companies, or you're a business owner and you want to sit at a table with other women who are continuing to grow, and you share and you learn, right? So it's kind of a space that is a little bit, what's the word? Like, you can't just sign up and come. Like, I have to have a phone conversation with the women who are coming, also because I like to make sure that it's a good experience for everybody. So I like to make sure that the people who come on these are good at traveling, for example, because when you go to Guatemala, like, you never know what's going to happen. Like, we basically hardly had any hot water in our casitas the whole week, but we also had 2 jacuzzis. Right? So we had 2 jacuzzis at night. We had running water and beautiful casitas, but hot water is hard to get in Guatemala. It's just most people don't have it. Like 99.999% of the population. So, like, you have to just be somebody who is comfortable just going with the flow. Sometimes you have hot water, sometimes you don't, you know? And you might have a day where you have no power, and then whatever, but we still had an incredible experience together, and it was so transformative for all of us, right? So I like to have conversations with people to make sure they're a good fit. But if you're interested in learning more, reach out to, just DM me and say, I want information about Lead with Love, November 2026, because I haven't sent the email out yet. I'm just right now getting all of the information together. And when we are ready to send out the details and they're dialed in, I will send you the email. So you want to get on the list because it's a limited number of people. I think we're doing there's 3 of us leading it, myself and my 2 regional directors. And I believe we're each bringing 4 women. Like, I think we worked it out so that we're each going to bring 4 women, maybe a few more from our communities. Okay, it's a really cool setup. Anyway, if you're interested, just send me and believe me, a conversation is not a commitment. In other words, just because we talk doesn't mean that you're committed. And I'm not committed to it either. But it's really important that we have a conversation. I feel like my eyes are really itchy from something. I don't know. It's like whenever I come in here, I'm really itchy. I'm going to have to do a big vacuum today. I don't know. I was around a cat yesterday or 2 days ago. Maybe that's what it was. Anyway, I love you. Okay. Are you ready to lead with love? Are you ready to walk like Jesus? Are you ready to be more like Jesus? Starting right now. I am. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. So we meet again on Monday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard for Uncommon Woman Global Ministry Live, which is this call. And then the Legacy Business Lives are every Tuesday and Thursday. Okay, but go to RomieandMarlo.com for all the things. Okay? I love you. Thank you for being here. Share this out. Share it into your stories. Share it, share it, share it. Love you.